It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas, with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
Welcome into a almost redesigned studio here. Got a new little monitor. My microphone's on the other side. It's a little different here in the Cogswell Motors studios, but we appreciate you joining us. A little late, technical difficulties, but appreciate you being with us today. Those of you who are watching on the stream later on or watching the replay, you don't know, you don't care.
Make a difference.
But it doesn't matter at all. So Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton, Maddie Lassiter inside the Cogswell Motors studios. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Derek Jeter made his final appearance in an all-star game, and it was a huge deal, apparently. I want you to explain to me why. I don't really care. Also, and it's not just about baseball. It's just like, it's your last all-star game, so we're all going to cry and make a big scene out of it. But who freaking cares? I want you to explain it to me here.
Apparently somebody did.
Well, I mean, I say that, and I'm the one talking for a month about LeBron James and where he's going to go in his free agency. So I have to take it with a grain of salt that not everybody thinks like I do. Not everybody cares about the things that I care about.
Lord.
So here we are on a Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. We got a lot of NBA talk as there are players. The dominoes continue to fall. Dwayne Wade signed his tender with the Miami Heat. Gonna give up some money after opting out.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But he signed a deal similar to what LeBron James did. We'll talk about that. Lance Stevenson, Mike Miller, Kevin Love back in the news as the Warriors have reopened negotiations for a trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves over Kevin Love. Open Championship, Jimmy Graham, Derek Jeter, Charlie from Plummerville Superspeedway will be in here in just a little bit. But today's CrossFit Russellville poll question, it's SEC Media Days going on right now. That marks the beginning of college football season to a lot of folks.
Right.
And it means that football is just around the corner. We want to know today, who do you have? I know you can change it. It's just July. We've got a month and a half before we really have to decide who we think is going to win it all, and before we get down there and put it on the record. But who do you have so far in your mind as far as an SEC team that'll make the 14 playoff? Remember, the BCS is no more as far as what we've been accustomed to. It's the 14 playoff. It's in. It's happening this year. It's now a reality. Who do you have from the SEC? Do you have anybody from the SEC in the college football playoff? Who's your initial favorite to win it all? Weldon, we've got a whole bunch of stuff today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about today's show. I mean, it's an interesting time. Yes, we're going to get to Derek Jeter, and I'm going to straighten you out because apparently, you're off track. But as far as the other issues, the main sports aren't in season in terms of football and basketball, but a lot of things are moving to put those things in place this fall. Football starting up early, and then basketball. In college sports, you're talking about SEC Media Day. A lot of questions, some more intelligent questions than others, but nonetheless, you're seeing these coaches. Coach Bielema, I believe, will be on tomorrow. He's in that last group of coaches speaking at SEC Media Days. But we've heard from Gus Malzahn, we've heard from Will Muschamp, we've heard from Kevin Sumlin. So, Steve Spurrier, always a great soundbite at SEC Media Day. So it's exciting to see those guys, see their personalities, shine. And then the NBA, Dwayne Wade has signed this contract, and we're going to take a look at the East, Mark, because the East, I think it'll be fun to watch. I still don't think the quality is all that high, but I think it'll be more competitive top to bottom. Last year, it was essentially a two-team conference. Yeah, Indiana slipping a little bit, opened the door, but ultimately it reduced down to Pacers Heat like we felt. This year, it could be a lot of different things happening. Seeds 1 through 8 are really up for grabs in the Eastern Conference, so that'll be interesting to see what we think about that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to today's show.
As for local sports, just one thing right here real quickly. Obviously, team camps and 7-on-7s going on for football, so everybody's sort of practicing. They're getting in football mode. Weldon's getting in football mode because he's got fall camp or summer camp here pretty soon, and fall camp right around the corner. But you've got a little bit of Legion baseball, and we made mention of the River Valley Tropics earlier on. We've talked a lot about them because their coach Brant Tinkleave has shared some information with us about them. But also the Post 20, the Russellville Legion team, they've won their 7th game in a row with a win on the road at Conway last night. That's a big one, 10-9. They beat Conway in Conway. It's always good to win games on the road. It's good for this Russellville team who I saw some stats early on. They had struggled. Now they've got it kind of figured out. 7 games in a row they've won. It's a good going for the Russellville Legion baseball team right now.
Yeah. I mean, Legion baseball, it's been a staple in this community. Obviously, this is a big baseball area. Russellville's been really good in baseball, and obviously, Clarksville's
State champs.
Yeah, exactly. Clarksville's got some kids that have gone on to do some things, and even Dover, they've had times where they've been good. So, the Legion team in the area, once everybody gets on the same page, you'd expect them to be able to play well. So it's good to see that they have it going.
And also, man, I've been following the AAA Arkansas Activities Association for several years, and I've given them a lot of crap over the years because they're sort of like the NCAA, the college version of the AAA, in that they toothless, make a lot of stupid decisions. Really, it all boils down to the fact that they wouldn't give me a media credential. So that's where I got upset. That's where I got upset with the AAA. But the whole realignment of conferences going to 7 classifications instead of 4 or 5 that they used to have. Now they're trying to figure things out so teams don't have to travel all the way across the state. Little Rock teams don't have to play Fort Smith teams or Northwest Arkansas teams on a random Tuesday night.
Right.
So they're trying to figure stuff out, but there's some talk about realignment either for this upcoming alignment or for the next one. But it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to football season getting here so we can tell you who's in which conference because there's a lot of change, a lot of turnover, a lot of things moving. Teams like Boonville, who was in the 4A4 last year, moving down to 3A. Boonville won, if I'm not mistaken, they won the 4A state football championship. They're moving down to 3A now. That's kind of tough for the 3A. But Boonville moves out of Pottsville's conference. They get teams in. Maumelle moved out of the conference. They've got teams in like Arkansas Baptist and Clinton, I think. So they've got some moving and shaking going on, and we're going to have to familiarize you with those teams that are in the new conferences once season comes around.
And the last few years has really been ridiculous because, realignment, it would happen ever so often, more so in the smaller classifications, but really they're changing annually. You don't have any continuity. You don't have any rivalries as far as having time to develop. It is tough that these conferences are changing every year. Every year that the new rankings come out as far as enrollment, they're changing it every year. It's tough. When I was in high school, you had the traditional 5A West is what the Russellville was in. Obviously, your Northwest schools, Van Buren, the 2 Fort Smith schools in Russellville. And basketball, I thought they had it figured out pretty well. You would play a team in your area on Tuesday, so Northwest teams would play each other on a Tuesday, and then the teams Fort Smith, Van Buren, and here would play each other on Tuesdays, and then on Fridays is when you would make the trip up to Northwest, so the Northwest teams would come to the Valley. But so I don't think that was a huge deal, but I really wish they would settle in on something as far as that goes. Also, with high school on the table, talking about moving football back another week, starting the season a week earlier. A lot of the high school coaches I've talked to and seen, they're not a big fan of it. I'm not a fan of it either. This is something you see more so up north. When the summers are a little more mild and the winters are more harsh. It makes sense you could start earlier. But here, it's hot. It's hot during the regulars. The start date we have now, it's warm. So, these games, they start at 7 o'clock, but at 7, Mark, it's still daylight and hot. So to start a week earlier to avoid the cold is what I heard. No, it doesn't get ridiculously cold. It's chilly.
But it is ridiculously hot. So they're not thinking about the other side.
Exactly. That's why I said the northern cities, it makes sense. They'll deal with a little more warmth to start the year, so they're not playing in sub-zero blizzards at the end of the year. But down here, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'll be careful with what I say here. You got people who claim to care about the kids, and I remember back a couple years back when a good kid from Lamar lost his life to a heat-related illness, and Tyler Davenport, heat stroke there at Lamar High School, passed away, and it was in practice. It was in a 2-a-day situation, and does the AAA want something like that happening on the field on a late August night? That's just to me it seems a little bit stupid. You can always put on some more clothes, you'll be okay. But you can't, there's not much you can do for the heat when it's that hot. And around here, the way the weather's been right now, it's been so nice. It just feels like we're about to get blasted. It just feels in the air like it's way too nice for, 70s in July that it was last night. My wife and I went for a nice, mile walk, and we were just like, I cannot believe that it's like this right now in July. It just feels like we're about to get blasted with every sort of weather you can possibly imagine in the next several months. So I think the AAA is going to have to reconsider this. I haven't seen one positive word about this move up the season a week from anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think that when you have people who are in charge of making decisions that they don't have the full understanding. And please tell me there are some coaches consulting on this committee. I haven't found out, but it doesn't sound like the high school coaches have a great deal of say-so in this, which is a little bit questioning and concerning to me. Please tell me if there's another reason besides whether they're doing this. Let me know. I haven't heard anything. Therefore, there's no way I can see this being a good idea.
I mean, the AAA, before I get into my explanation, well, I'll just do it because I'll forget about it if I don't. Maybe they're trying to avoid basketball season a little bit. Basketball season kicks off or tips off about the same time. Football season's winding down. Maybe they're trying to give another week for that. Maybe it is the weather, the travel, the things that the logistical issues and stuff. But really, the AAA should be all that the coaches and administrators want. That's what it is. I mean, they are supposed to uphold rules that the coaches and administrators and schools themselves have put into practice, put into place. And if they're changing stuff that's not based on what coaches and have advised, then that's bad. So I don't know. We'll have to see. If you have any information about it, give us a call, 968 News. Email me, mark@rivervalleyleader.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll talk about the conference realignments as we get more time and we get a little bit of information on who's going to be where. And I'll see a list somewhere and I'll read them off and tell you which teams are affected locally. Before we hit a break, I want to hit some wire-related topics. Derek Jeter, his last All-Star game last night led into by the Home Run Derby, which is becoming a shame and a sham and a mockery and a Travis Sham mockery. It's just, man, I remember back when I was in school, and I guess it was in junior high, and guys like Ken Griffey Jr. are bombing it off Camden Yard, out of Camden Yards, off the brick wall out there, the warehouse. There's people hitting it into McCovey Cove. There's people hitting, Sosa and McGuire. I don't care if they were roided up. It was fun to watch. And now you've got Cespedes. I didn't know who won the Home Run Derby. You won it for the second year in a row.
That's right, my
Congratulations, your boy from Oakland.
First place Oakland. Make sure you
first place Oakland A's. But the Home Run Derby, man, the All-Star game, baseball. Yeah, it's just kind of going. Yeah. And you can tell me why I should care about Derek Jeter, but first off, the Home Run Derby, man, isn't it sad that it's just no big deal anymore?
No, you're right on the money.
Kind of like the slam dunk contest.
Exactly, you're right on the money with the Home Run Derby. And the thing is, baseball, I kind of blame that side of it, the administrative side of it, from a marketing standpoint. You have some really good players. Nobody knows who they are. Ken Griffey, household name. A lot of these guys just has household names that used to be big time, but now, Mike Trout should be plastered everywhere. You should see Mike Trout's face everywhere. Former Arkansas Traveler Mike Trout, too, by the way. But you should see his face everywhere. MVP at All-Star game, a 5'2" player, one of the best overall players, maybe the best. You talk about defense and everything put it together in the game of baseball. He's an exciting player. He has a bright personality. Baseball's got really good players, but for some reason I don't see them on commercials everywhere. I don't see their face and name plastered everywhere. I don't see their face on bubble gum or anything like that. So I think the league's got to get these guys out more, and a guy like Mike Trout would be a great ambassador, a great face to the game, like a Derek Jeter in the group was when A-Rod, before he was good, clean Mr. A-Rod, that we used to like. These guys were stars. So I think baseball's got to do a better job. Now, as far as the game last night, Derek Jeter thought it was appropriate. Look, Derek Jeter's been in the league since 1996. He's been an iconic figure. His numbers don't blow you away. They never have, although they've been good numbers, but pretty much everybody in both dugouts. We know there's 85 million players on each All-Star team nowadays.
They all have to play, too. They all get a trophy.
Yeah. They got like 40-man rosters for an All-Star team. But really, all of those guys looked up to Derek Jeter. A lot of those guys wore number 2. Troy Tulowitzki, in my opinion, the best shortstop in the game, wearing number 2 because of Jeter. Just so many guys in these Latin American countries who are just trying to live the baseball dream. They, the Yankee channel is a lot of times the only one they could get in their country. And just to see his impact in the game, it's really Bill Russell-like. If you really want to know the reason for the impact, I would almost compare Jeter, not as far as the greatness of a player, but just the respect that he commands and just how people view him, like these stars view Bill Russell. Bill Russell, I would say, Mark, is the most respected player in NBA history. Yeah, people show Michael Jordan respect, but
I think you're right.
But it's not like a fear. Some guys do fear him, but it's not like a yes, sir. When he's in the room, you stand up and you be quiet and you listen. That's what effect Bill Russell has. And I think Jeter is in that mold as far as this guy is a consummate professional, always stayed out of trouble, never had his drama. Mr. Clutch, made some huge hits in a big city with a lot of pressure. I thought, as far as me watching baseball, a lot of people, like Derek Jeter's been in the game ever since I can remember. He's been in there, like I said, since 1996, being Mr. Consistent, being the ultimate leader. And I just think that respect poured out. What his garage looks like right now, Mark? His garage is full of junk he's got from these different stadiums.
yeah, seriously. A surfboard.
Some cowboy boots dipped in gold. From the Texas Houston Astros. His garage is full of junk that he's gotten from these places.
You know what his little black book looks like?
Oh, we know Derek Jeter's little black book.
Dang, I saw a field, like they put the women he's been with in different positions, as far as on the baseball diamond, and the left field to the right. Jessica Alba, I think, was in center field. He had like Jessica Biel in right
Mika
field.
Kelly,
Good Lord, he had a DH. That's how many he had, the whole field full and a DH.
And the thing,
Derek Jeter.
Yeah, like that commercial. Great commercial, by the way. That's one of the greatest commercials I've ever seen, too. The hat tip, beautiful thing. But yeah, Derek Jeter's black book, we know it's second to none. And the thing is, he never let that be a big deal, like a big distraction.
That is kind of cool.
Like, we knew about it, but it wasn't a big distraction, though. And I think
he hasn't been like some other folks like Wilt or somebody like that, who it's all about that.
And he doesn't have child support issues.
He doesn't
all over
have
the
Dwight
place.
Howard or Antonio Cromartie problems.
Antonio Cromartie. So
it's like nine kids from 6 different women or something like that.
It's not.
He doesn't even know all their names. Literally, really, I'm not joking. They asked him, and he was like, and he couldn't get them all.
So I would say this to wrap up Derek Jeter. He's just. His impact on the game is like few others, not just another great Hall of Famer who's about to step down, but he's just somebody who was just a foundational piece of baseball, and I think that's the reverence. I really hated to see that Wainwright controversy last night.
He shouldn't have said that. He said he grooved pitches, and then he took it back and said, "No, I didn't throw him a pitch that he could hit, so he could hit a double off me to lead off the game."
Yeah, I think so. I think really what happened was I think he was mad because he got shelled. Wainwright got shelled at first, and I think to help kind of soften it a little bit when in anger, he's like I let him do that.
I think he did. I think he let him.
Yeah, you think just from the beginning?
Just Jeter. And when Jeter got on and hit that double, and then it snowballed on him, he's like, "Crap, man! I thought I could work around the leadoff hit."
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was going to hit. He said, "I didn't know he was going to hit a double." So he's basically saying, I was trying to just let him get on base. I was going to work around it, but he got shelled after that, and he got kind of caught.
Well, if that were the case, I would say then you should have kept quiet about it.
Yep.
But that's why I think he was kind of mad that it snowballed on him. So because it snowballed on him, he's like, well, I got to save a little face here, and just let me tell people that I let him. Because he may have let him. But I think the reason it came out is because his feelings were a little bit hurt. Then he said it. People piled on him on Twitter. He gets Aaron Andrews and said, "Aaron, come over here. No, I'm not trying to get your number like everybody else. I actually want to get on TV." That's what he told Aaron Andrews.
I bet he got a number.
He had a legitimate reason. Then he probably asked for a number.
Yeah.
But he's like, "I'm sorry, blah blah blah." I do think he felt bad, but I think when he said it, it was a little bit of frustration. That's why it came out. So it was a good All-Star game. American League won. They got
advantage in the World Series.
Yeah. So
real quickly, we talked for a long time last summer about Mount Rushmores because we didn't have anything else to talk about. So real quickly, one word answer from you guys: Derek Jeter on the Mount Rushmore of the New York Yankees. Yes or no? No.
Yes.
Yes. The two guys who know what they're talking about, yes. Those two over there, no. Let's hit a break. Charlie from Plummerville Super Speedway going to come in and share a little bit with you, and then we've got plenty left on the Sports Blitz. NBA, free agency. We've got SEC Media Days. Who's going to make the college football playoff? Who's going to win it? Your initial predictions. Give us a call at 968 News if you'd like to be a part, but we've got plenty more Sports Blitz right after the break.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
here's what you missed.
Updated news.
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
Developing stories.
It's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
And weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance of rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on. KRK4 today.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
We want to welcome you back here to the Sports Blitz. Today is Wednesday. I'm Weldon Braxton. Matty Lassiter, as always, doing a decent job behind the controls. A decent job. I am happy to say we have a special guest here, Charlie Ballard. Charlie, you're not even a guest anymore. You've been on this show so many times, just giving us your wisdom. We don't even consider you a guest anymore. You know, it's like in church when they say, "Can all the visitors stand up?" Then the preacher will go, "Oh no, you can sit down. You like family now." That's kind of how it is with Charlie here on the Sports Blitz here in the Cogswell Motor Studio. Charlie, the point man, I call you, for the Plummerville Super Speedway. I'm just gonna let you go, man. Just tell us what's going on.
All right, man. Always glad to be here. I got Mark's seat today. Got headphones, man. I'm moving up. Thanks for considering me part of the family. Did I get a check out of this?
Well, we'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Hey, every Saturday night, 7:30, ladies and gentlemen, the Plummerville Super Speedway, just 25 minutes east of Russell, right down I-40. It's all good. We got a big race coming up this weekend. $2,000 to win, $100 to start, just for play, speed shop, hobby stock summer shootout. That was a mouthful.
That was
a lot to get out there. We're excited about this. $2,000 to win for hobby stocks. That's the biggest amount we've ever paid hobby stocks at that track. And I've been there for years. I've never seen that kind of purse. They usually run for about $400. And now they said if they just start the race, they're going to get $100 to win. So we are really excited about that, hoping for a lot of different cars from around Arkansas. We've got some good point races going on. Our point races are getting closer. As always, got a little bit of drama.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Hey, it's good times at the Plummerville Super Speedway.
Well, just tell us a little bit about that drama. I know, Charlie, we had a little points race controversy, a couple of former buddies getting together. Now it's not so friendly. Do we have issues with those two, or we have a new situation?
Not so much with those two. They're really close in the points. They're not beating and banging too much. The big thing last week, and remind me to touch on the local drivers. We had a lot of local drivers in there last weekend. One of our local drivers from right down here at Pottsville, Jacob Linden, he and his teammate, Zach Oliver, one's 36Z, the other's 36J. Their cars are painted identical. Zach drives a station wagon. We call him the grocery hauler. He's got 2 first place. he can haul whatever he wants because he drives her to the checkered, man. And him and Jacob were there last weekend, and in short order, Zach led about the first 3 laps, and Jacob took the lead. And like, all right, go Polk County, boy. And Jacob was putting on a clinic. Now, he had like 4 veteran drivers just right on him, and he, ran that lead for, probably 15 laps and didn't let the pressure get to him. He was putting on a clinic. That Camaro was smooth. And they went under the white flag. We had what was called green, white, checkered.
Right.
We had so many cautions that we had to go ahead and put an end to that race. So in that situation, you drop the green, you drop the white, and checkered, and race over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jacob was in the lead, and starting the last lap after he had went under the white, the 1J car, Terry Brooks, hit him and took him out. And then Brooks was DQ'd for rough driving, and the third place car drove to the checkered. And that was just really. Man, we all just cringed because that was going to be Jacob's first ever win, and he had done an excellent job. So that Camaro was on a rail. They were close to him, but they really couldn't catch him.
Well, that's what I'm interested about, with the dirt track circuit is. Tell me a little bit about the sanctioning body. Who's governing the rules? Who's handing down rough driving penalties? Just tell us about the overall governing body.
Well, in local dirt track racing, now like I-30 Speedway at Little Rock, it's governed one of their classes by IMCA, International Motor Contest Association. But at our track, most of others, it's just the governing body at the track. Our promoter Kenny Morden sets down the rules when he opened this speedway, and he writes out the rules, determines what the cubic inch limit in the motor and what kind of suspension you can have, and then there's the rules of the conduct and the rough driving. In this case, I would say probably the flagman, Gary Stevens, made the first call, black flag, because he had the black flag, he DQ'd the 1J, but every other official on the track saw the same thing. The 1J car hit the 36J and knocked him out. They called it rough driving. Now, where Brooks did it on purpose, we don't know. But, it's just that simple. He took him out. But because it was green, white, checkered, that was the last lap. Once you throw the white flag, checkered is the only thing that can follow that. Right. Therefore, the 66 car got the win. And it was a heartbreaking situation. That would have been Jacob's first win, and everybody was rooting for him. And just there in the last lap, gone.
How long have they been doing green, white, checkered in your series?
We've done it ever since I started there in 2007, and okay. It's green, white, checkered is pretty much a standard rule in all racing.
Yeah.
But you asked earlier about who governs it. It's just the local officials at that track are the one that hand down the rules and decisions.
Makes sense. Well, Charlie, tell us about some of the upcoming events. I know you guys have, the track's going to be full every weekend with different series and whatnot coming to town. So what's on the horizon?
Well, like I said, this weekend we got the $2,000 win hobby race. Next Saturday night, the 26th, the Southern Outlaw late models are back. In August, I know Maddie's happy about this. August the 16th, first time ever, 360 wing sprint cars at the Plumerville Superspeedway. And then on Saturday, August 23rd, we had the second annual $2,000 to win Ed Jordan Memorial Modified Show. That drew 30-something cars from 3 states last year. We are looking forward to that. And this Saturday night, big time at intermission, probably the highlight of the show, out on the front stretch, promoter Kenny Morden, flagman Gary Stevens, Sports Blitz co-host Weldon Braxton, and myself racing tricycles in Speedos. It is going to be a big time.
That is not going to happen.
What? Why do you mean that's not going to happen? You think the crowd wants it? The crowd wants it?
Well, first of all, Charlie, as I told you, my times here on the Sports Blitz are winding down. We know my. Did you not hear?
I did not know.
Oh, well, I guess I'm telling you, and we tell everybody else. Monday will be my last show. That's the 21st. Oh, yeah. That will be my last show here on the Sports Blitz. So
for us, we're going to call it a hiatus.
A hiatus, okay.
Yeah.
A hiatus.
Well, yeah, that's what last year, around this time I left and go to Minnesota, and I'll be doing the same thing this time around. So I'm looking forward to it. But Charlie,
you don't want to come down and put on a Speedo and ride a tricycle before you go?
I don't now.
I think the crowd would appreciate it.
Well, if the crowd can pay. Now if we're talking about putting something into a pot.
Touche, buddy. I understand.
This is America. I'm a capitalist. Not everything.
You have a price.
Free here.
You do have a price, don't you?
Exactly. So, but Charlie, let me ask you. Speaking of people at the track, Tell us about the ladies. I know they have their series and whatnot, and you told me about the lady who has the raccoon. And how's she doing?
Brooke's doing just fine. She did not drive last weekend. Her and R.L. Williams actually share a car. I think R.L. is her brother. She drives it one week and he drives it next. And I saw her at intermission, and I asked her about Cooney. She said he'd had a big day. He was asleep in the truck because I knew I didn't see the raccoon running around the track there. I didn't want to mislead anybody when I talked about our ladies drivers. Now, they don't drive separately. They drive with the guys.
The men, okay.
Now, of course, we have the once-a-month powder puff. That's a special kind of deal for ladies who don't drive. But Brooke Delaney, Debbie Walford, Rebecca Harrison, I can't think the other lady's name right off. They drive with the men. So they are right in there rubbing elbows. Debbie Brown, 2 or 3 time track champion. And Rebecca Harris is getting there.
Oh, hey. We're on the Sports Blitz here, joined by Charlie Bowden, the point man for the Plumerville Super Speedway. You mentioned you want to talk about local drivers. Tell us a little bit about
we had a
local
lot
drivers.
of local drivers this weekend. Pope and Yale County well represented from over at Dardanelle. Jared and Tyler Haney came. Kyle Reynolds. Jared won his heat race in the EMOD division. From up at Dover, Aaron McGee and Daniel Hughes. Aaron won the hobby stock feature. Daniel run in the factory. From down at Centerville, Richard Crow and Steve Llewellyn came and raced in the modified show. And, of course, like I said earlier, Jacob Linden lives right down here at Possible. So Pope and Yale County really well represented. Yeah,
right.
That word.
You got it.
And like I said, in the hobby stock, Aaron McGee from Dover. He's been driving for about 3 years now. He won the hobby stock. That was a little bit of an odd call. Joe Payne actually took the checkered flag, but Joe had violated one of our rules on the just a few laps prior to the checkered, and they had to take the win away from him. Aaron was second, so he got it. And Aaron was driving a good race anyway. Joe was just a little bit ahead of him. But Joe violated one of the cardinal rules, and so he was stripped of the win.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how in depth the racing circuit is. You're not just jumping in some cars and just going around. I mean,
no, it's all very structured. We have rules for just about everything, and it's not as simple as getting under that checkered flag. There's a lot of things that govern it, like you said.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Charlie, one thing that every time you come on here, we always ask you about, and we got to ask about the menu.
Not going to be any different today, is it?
Not going to be. We got to ask you about the menu now. A lot of people want to know. Now, you told us, but Maddie wants to know about those bologna sandwiches and chicken baskets. Now, Charlie, you told us that depends on what you guys can go and pick up. It may be something different time to time.
Right.
What is the current menu looking like at the Speedway?
Oh man, I don't know about anything right now but some onion rings, man. The other night, Zach Oliver got taken out about halfway through the factory race, got the rear end knocked out from under his car. That's what they tell me. I don't know. I was too busy stuffing my face with onion rings and hamburgers. Folks, Kenny gets these onion rings at Sam's, I guess, and I ain't never had onion rings like this. They're just, oh Lord, they are smooth, man. And if that don't do it for you, and our little hamburgers, I don't even like our cook. Foot, what is his name? I see his face.
I say his name is Foot.
Yeah, his name. Yeah, that's our cook. And every week he'll like, "What do you want for supper tonight, Charlie?" I just have him grill me up a couple burgers. Don't even put them on bread. I just eat them with the
track.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And we got cheese sticks, chicken baskets. There's nothing new this week except for the Johnsonville brats, and they seem to go over really well. But yeah, all kinds of good food: fried bologna sandwiches, bratwurst, hamburgers, corn dogs, hot dogs, slushies. Just like I said, everything but cheese dip. But we put that on your nachos. I don't really consider that cheese dip because it's not from El Chico. But hey, that's me. My buddy Johnny Thacker up here at Center Valley. He's a great racer, but I think he pretty much just goes to races nowadays to eat nachos. So that's good for some people.
Hey, you know what? If I'm the Speedway, I'm saying, you know what? If you want to come in the door just to have our nachos, come on in. Speaking of that, tell us a little bit about admission, what it costs to get in, all that good stuff, and how people can get a hold of you.
Oh yeah. It's $12 for adults. Children 6 to 12 is $5. Kids 5 and under are free. Our phone number, if you need to reach us, is 501-838-6548. And like I said, we are right down the interstate, just 25 minutes, folks. It's exit 112. You go right and get on Highway 64. The Speedway is about 1.5 miles east of the town of Plumerville. You cannot miss it. It's right on the side of the road. Exit 112 every Saturday night at 7:30. Come down and get your thrill at the Ville.
All right, and as we go to break, let me. You mentioned you guys had some message boards type things. Are those still popping with a lot of debate? And
they are. That last weekend, those two races that ended kind of oddly, they're still talking about them today. That's on MidSouthRacingScene.com. You can look that up. Also, you can go to our Facebook page, Plummerville Super Speedway, and of course the website www.PlummervilleSuperspeedway.com. Exit 112, folks, every Saturday night, 7:30. Come see us.
Awesome. We want to thank Charlie Bowden for joining us today, and we're going to go to break. I'm going to make Mark Freeman reappear after the break, I promise, and when we do, we're going to talk some SEC sports and a little NBA, so don't you go away.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KRK4 today.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
All right, back in my seat here in the Sports Blitz on a Wednesday. Charlie, appreciate him coming in, telling us a little bit about what's going on over there at the Plummerville Super Speedway, all the drama, all the angst and heartache and happiness and food and great stuff. Appreciate Weldon holding down the shop while I'm out taking care of business and they're interviewing. Well, we've got a lot of stuff to hit today. The NBA free agency. Dwayne Wade signed his tender with the Miami Heat and took a little bit of a loss there as far as what he could have had if he just opted in.
I kind of want to get into that because a lot of people, we have this tendency, Mark, as sports fans, we don't just accept something that happens. We like to find out who, what, when, where, why, and it's not. We know LeBron's in Cleveland now, but that's not where it stops with us. We want to know, well, when did LeBron know, and when did he tell somebody, and did he know when he was in Las Vegas together, and then is that why X, Y, and Z happened? We try to figure all that stuff out after the fact, but it is a good question. Dwayne Wade, I have a hard time believing he was pulled off sides by it, but you would have to think he might have been since he gave up that much money, unless he was going to do it anyway to help the team. But something tells me he would have wanted to make that money if he had opted in. So I guess I would ask you to get the ball rolling, Mark. When Dwayne Wade opted out, how do you think he felt about the situation as far as LeBron's chances of coming back?
He thought there was no chance that LeBron James was going to come back if he didn't. I think that's where if he didn't opt out. I think that's where he was. I think LeBron James knew before he went to Vegas that he was, because apparently he wrote this in Miami on a Sunday after a meeting with Dan Gilbert. I mean, or at least he came up with the idea. So a little bit of controversy there, as LeBron knew a little bit ahead of time that he was going to go back to Cleveland.
But I didn't want to stop you. But you don't think he knew before they opted out? You don't think he had already made a decision?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there were people, the Instagram post, didn't it come before they opted out? That his wife saying, well, we're going home type thing. So I don't know.
I'm a little bit hot if I'm Dwayne Wade, and that's the case.
You cost me money.
I'm a little bit warm.
You're my boy.
You're my boy, but I'm a little warm at you after that.
Yeah, that would be kind of controversial. I thought it was funny how Pat Riley talked about Luol Deng and how he was just heaping praise on him, and then he said that Dwayne Wade has been the cornerstone of this franchise for the entire 11-year career.
How about Wade's tweet? Yeah.
About home is where my heart is.
My city. My team. Right?
You know, the thing is, he kind of has to do that, and Pat Riley has to do what he did. And Dwayne Wade really has been a cornerstone. I don't know about the cornerstone. Maybe he has been the cornerstone, but he hasn't been the best player for the past 4 years. He hasn't been anywhere near the cornerstone, only cornerstone for the Miami Heat since LeBron James was around. But Miami doing their best to reload, retool, and that's kind of what they're at right now. But I thought it was interesting that Miami Heat signed Luol Deng, 2 years, $20 million.
Yeah.
They, Shabazz Napier's playing terrible right now. They drafted him. He was 2 for 16 yesterday in their summer league game. But Miami's going through some stuff.
You know what they are, but I'm excited for Miami. Like, at least I'm excited for Dwayne Wade specifically, because like I've said, I've believed that his weight loss, I've been on that for ever since the season. I think that's going to really help him out. I think that him being the guy again, I think that's going to really rejuvenate him. I mean, because Dwayne Wade is not a number 2. He's not wired to be a number 2. That's just not who he is. Even though LeBron is a better player, so he should be number 2, he's just not built that way mentally. And so to see him lighter, rejuvenated, back as the man, I think that's going to do wonders for him. Because remember, this was one of the better rivalries in the Eastern Conference. I know we used to talk about LeBron versus Kobe as a big deal, but within that conference, LeBron and Wade was must-see TV. When the Heat and Cavaliers used to square off, and so I think it'll be exciting to get a little bit more of that, Mark. As I said before, the Eastern Conference is so wide open. I mean, because really the East, as far as strong teams, got worse when Lance Stevenson signed that deal with Charlotte, because now Charlotte gets a little better. They're probably like in the middle to upper-ish in the East now. Indiana falls to the middle, so that signing just put 2 teams in the middle. One team rose to the middle, one fell to the middle, in my opinion, with the Hornets and the Pacers. And then, of course, Chicago's good, Cleveland's good, but both teams have issues. The Pacers have a loss now. Toronto, they'll get better, but how much better are they going to be? So the East is kind of mushy right now.
3 years, $27 million deal takes Lance Stevenson out of Indiana, so that's what he's talking about with that. Where's he going? Charlotte? To Charlotte. Dwayne Wade, 2 years, $31.1 million, takes the lead of LeBron, who knows that the next TV deal is going to be able to knock up the max salary, or maybe just get rid of the max salary altogether. And Dwayne could possibly get, this is betting on yourself, sort of like what LeBron James did, that his last contract could be a huge one, sort of a Kobe Bryant type thing, where he gets the career achievement award from the Miami Heat, and they pay him out the wazoo. But we'll see. He took about a $11 million pay cut over 2 years from the deal he opted out of, according to True Hoop there on ESPN. But Lance Stevenson, 3 for 27. He passed up a 5 for 44 deal from the Indiana Pacers. So he kind of misread the market, and his deal's a little shorter, but he'll still only be, I think, 26 or 27 whenever that deal comes up, and he'll have another chance for a big deal. But 3 for 27, $9 million a year for Lance Stevenson.
Well, I mean, his antics is what lowered the overall market for him, and so I think once he realized, I can't really change that now. All I can do is sign a shorter deal. Again, we know with the TV situation, a lot of these guys are thinking that, as far as just more money in the pot down the road. But I think if you're Stevenson, it is betting on himself, as you said, because he believes that, okay, my antics is what cut my money short. I got to put that behind me. I can't be doing that anymore. I believe I'm going to be one of the best 2 guards in basketball, especially by the time this contract is over. So you combine that with the fact that I'm going to clean up my act. I know I'm going to be getting big money. So if I'm going to be making the same annual salary, I might as well be doing it for a shorter period of time and then go make my big money. It's a gamble. Stevenson's, for all we know, may have topped out. So if that's the case, he should have taken a long-term deal. But he believes he's going to be an elite 2 guard, and so he took the shorter deal.
Kevin Love back in the news as the Warriors and the Timberwolves resuming their negotiations about trading Kevin Love. We are disagreeing about what Minnesota should do as far as, Weldon stands with a lot of folks who say that, the Minnesota Timberwolves should wait on the best deal possible. And I'm one saying Kevin Love is not going to come back. There's no way. And after this next year, and there's a good chance. I was talking with a friend on Monday. He said, dude, Kevin Love's going to come up with some mysterious knee injury halfway through next season. He's going to miss 30 games. He's going to be really good when he's playing, but he's not going to play that much. He's sort of going to tank it because he hates Minnesota. He doesn't want to play there, and I think they'd be better served to get the best deal they can now, start the rebuild a year earlier. And I'm kind of at odds with where everybody else is, and I think I'm in the minority, to be honest, with what Minnesota should do. With that being said, Golden State doesn't want to give up Klay Thompson.
Right.
Minnesota is demanding Klay Thompson. Cleveland wants Kevin Love. They don't want to give up Andrew Wiggins. They're offering, Golden State's offering Harrison Barnes, David Lee, and a number 1 pick for a first-round pick for Kevin Love and Kevin Martin. Kevin Martin's expiring contract, which is huge, and Kevin Love. Both of those things will sort of help Minnesota. Cleveland is offering not Andrew Wiggins, anybody but Andrew Wiggins, Dion Waiters, Anthony Bennett, and a first-round pick for just Kevin Love, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that if Klay Thompson's not in the deal and Andrew Wiggins isn't in the deal, that sort of, you take the best of the two left, and if I'm Minnesota, I'm pulling that trigger as quick as I can.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're not crazy. The way I look at it is, first of all, no matter how you look at it, you're operating a huge world of what ifs. We can, say, what if this happens? What if this guy gets hurt? What if Love gets hurt? Or what if the guys I was going to trade for Love gets hurt? Or, what if somebody plays bad? Or, if you get too caught up into the what if scenarios, then, you're just going to be guessing. Then you're back to where you start. You're just throwing things at a wall, hoping it sticks. The way I look at it is, you have Kevin Love, you have a situation to where, things change. What if LeBron James is playing with this Cleveland roster and it ain't going well? Like they can't get it together. It's guys are playing okay, young players, but LeBron's getting frustrated, scoring 35 a night, and
it's the 06 Cavs again, 07.
It's like Wiggins and they're showing flashes. Bennett, they're showing flashes, but they're just not there every night. It's just LeBron's like, come on, can we make something work? Or you may have a situation, Golden State, like Steve Kerr is saying, we're a good team, but we got to shake something up here. And again, I know that's another what if, but if you're Minnesota, I just think you look at, a new dark horse could come in. Look at as long as you have assets, you can theoretically be in the Kevin Love sweepstakes. We just got through bragging on Philadelphia's draft. Sarek, one of the best young international players, is stored away over there, his rights. Obviously, a Joel Embiid, Nerlens. If they wanted to work some of those assets and could get a deal with Love, they could. So any team, Orlando has some young pieces. They probably wouldn't deal with Oladipo, but I know you don't, and I don't. But somebody likes Aaron Gordon and put him with something else. Let's say he's better than what we think next year. So I don't think they should wait till the deadline. I agree with you there. I don't think they should hold out. I think they should be listening the whole time, ready to pull the trigger any time. But if you really want a Klay Thompson, or if you really want an Andrew Wiggins, circumstances could change to where you could get them. They could go the other way too. I understand that, but I still think you don't have to pull the trigger right now in July.
I would try to get the best deal I could. And, if you're Cleveland, you may, and it may take waiting, but I'd be too afraid that February would roll around and I would be stuck with some crappy offer and just keep him and let him walk for nothing. But what happens if Cleveland is offering Anthony Bennett and not Andrew Wiggins? Andrew Wiggins comes out and is terrible. Anthony Bennett just lights the world on fire, and Cleveland says, you know what, I don't want to make that deal. And then Klay Thompson and David Lee are just having this incredible year with Steph Curry over there in Golden State. And, so So I could see it going both
You
ways.
can put them against each other too. If you're Minnesota, you could say, "Hey, Cleveland, Klay Thompson, we're getting pretty hot over here with Golden State. You better get something going over there." They could do the opposite. Hey, you know what? You don't want to trade Klay Thompson, Golden State. We're getting pretty warm with Wiggins. Cleveland starting to budge a little bit. You know, make the girls fight over you. You know, hey. That's what you did at Clarksville.
Of course I did. Yeah, that worked out for me very well as I married a girl from Nashville. So, all right. Kevin Love, he'll end up getting traded or he'll walk on his own. He's not going to be in Minnesota very much longer. I thought it was funny that Ricky Rubio wants a max deal. So do I. Yeah.
You know what? Look, Ricky Rubio, here's how I look at Ricky Rubio. When you're coming over as a young international player, there's two levels of things you have to do. First of all, you have to prove you can play in the league. Second, you have to prove you can excel in the league. Ricky Rubio, yes, he can play in the NBA, but he has shown nothing to leads me to believe he can excel in the NBA. He is a 8-point a game, 8 assists, 3 steals kind of guy. Certainly that's quality. But he's not anywhere near the Chris Paul, Rondo, Tony Parker, or even Kyrie. He's not even in that neighborhood. And he doesn't even show me he's trending towards it. His jump shot has gotten worse since coming over. We thought it'd be getting better by now. It's gotten worse. Again, he's a good defender. There's a lot of things he can do, but he's not a near max player. If somebody will take Ricky Rubio, Minnesota, I'm listening for that too. If you want Rubio, come trade for him.
Good luck. Especially knowing that he wants that kind of money. They wouldn't be able to re-sign him for long term.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that guy. All right, Mike Miller, 2 years, $5.5 million deal, passed up some money to go play with LeBron in Cleveland, passed up Denver money, which was going to be a lot more.
Yeah, hey, look, credit to Mike Miller. I didn't think he would do it. I said Mike Miller is – He likes the green. He took Memphis's green, and I thought he would take Denver's money. But apparently, the part of him that wants to, maybe win a ring and play with LeBron James won out in the end. I'm happy for him. He made a great decision. And again, this is something Cleveland needs to do. This roster has to get better for me to feel good about them winning the East, and it has to really. They need the Kevin Love deal to win the NBA Finals this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maddie, let's take our final break. We're going to go a little over. We're going to go a lot over today because we got some stuff to talk about. SEC Media Days, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He's gotten a feature written on him in AL.com, an Alabama newspaper, which is crazy to me that a guy who's covering Media Days had an article written about him during Media Days.
That is never a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were nice, and they were talking about how he was, sort of cult hero there in Alabama at Media Days, but
unless you're a legend of stepping down after 50 years, that's one thing, a writer. But no, other than that, we don't need to be writing about you. It's not a good thing if you got something written on you.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about SEC Media Days, the inaugural college football playoff. We'll look at a little NFL, and we'll give you our Open Championship. That's the British Open for those in America. We'll talk about the Open Championship winner. We won't talk about it. We'll just give you the winner, and we'll talk a little bit about SEC Media Days right after the break.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. We've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
Updated news.
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
Developing stories.
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
And weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on. KARK4 today.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out rivervalleyleader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
All right, my blind guess at Open Championship winner, Adam Scott. Who you got? You got Tiger?
No, I don't have Tiger. I don't think he's ready yet. But,
Hey, I'm 2 for 2 in the last 2 big events, so just saying,
the
not golf,
last
but
event, yeah.
World Cup and Wimbledon, so putting my
your
streak
two
on the line here.
specialties. You should quit basketball and football and just go to tennis and soccer. Yeah, it's tough. I see they got Sergio here on ESPN. I'm not really feeling Sergio. I'm actually going to lean towards a guy who will be in Tiger's group coming up in the first couple of rounds. That's Angel Cabrera. Angel Cabrera, Captain Chain Smoker, as some people call him. Angel Cabrera, he's always been a player I've liked really since 2007. He's just, he just doesn't care. Like, he's not, Tiger's Mr. Precision, Mr. All this. Angel Cabrera, he's like just that dude that just out playing golf, like a Gala Creek out here. He don't have a cigarette and he'll light it up. It doesn't matter that millions of people are watching. He'll be puffing and he'll put it out and then hit his iron shot onto the green. So Angel Cabrera definitely has the makeup to win a major. It's tough. I would like to see Tiger compete and win. I think it's too early. Tiger hasn't played well yet in any event, so it's a little bit early for him. Hopefully, by the time we get to the PGA Championship next month, he'll be ready to compete. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Angel.
You heard it here first. One of these two dudes is gonna win the Open Championship, the British Open. Let's look real quickly. Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
4 years. Joey, you remember him? Oklahoma State basketball player.
Oh, that's right. Good dunk.
In the NBA.
Yeah. And he had a brother, Steven. Yeah.
Jimmy Graham, 4 years, $40 million with the Saints. I talked a little bit before about how the Saints had better get a long-term deal for a lot of money with Jimmy Graham going like yesterday because of the whole arbitration and how he wanted to be viewed as a wide receiver. They viewed him as a tight end. And they pay him. The Saints won. I don't know why
I was gonna say,
that this even went that far. If they're going to sign a deal less than a week later, 4 years, $40 million, $21 million guaranteed, highest paid tight end in history, why didn't they just not go through dragging everybody through the mud and get this deal done? He's going to be a Saint long term.
I'm not saying it's a bad deal for Jimmy Graham, but if I'm New Orleans, I like this deal for me because. Look, I'm getting one of the most productive tight ends, the best in the game, because Gronk, I just don't know where his status is, but the most reliable, best tight end in the game. He's been nicked up here and there, ankle here or there. I'm paying him 4 years, 40, which means I'm gonna pay him $10 million a year. If you're asking me, would you pay Jimmy Graham $10 million for the next 2 years? Would you feel good about it? I'd say sure. But then after that, I don't know. And that's the exact deal they have. They're going to pay him essentially 2 years because 21 of it's guaranteed. Confidently give him those 2 years, $10 million a year. And then after that, if they like him, if he's not too beat up or anything, they still have him for another 2 years. If they're not feeling him anymore, they can cut him after 2 years. They'd still just owe him $1 million. So, and that's what will count against the cap. So I think it's a very good deal for New Orleans. Again, I'm not saying Jimmy Graham got messed over or anything, but I think it's a friendly deal for the Saints.
It's going to work out for both of them. Apparently, he's happy with the deal, and that's all they can ask for is that Jimmy Graham doesn't want to jump ship and go someplace else, which I would have. You're not going to drag me through the mud with my coach and everybody else coming up and talking about how I'm a tight end and I don't deserve to make that $5 million more on the franchise tag. I think I hate the franchise tag anyway because I just read some stuff the other day about how tight ends and safeties are absolutely killed by the franchise tag because they're undervalued at what they have made. Quarterbacks and wide receivers, they're all right with it, but tight ends and safeties just absolutely get hosed. But
and that's
it's not doing what it was initially intended to do.
No, and that's why people like Earl Thomas, they want to see Earl Thomas get as much as he can. Other safeties like, yes, please, Earl, start driving up this safety number. So, yeah.
All right, let's look real quickly before we get out of here. SEC Media Days. So you got the initial college football playoff. I don't know if you've got 4 teams. I haven't done enough studying to really know which 4 teams I'm going to predict are going to be in the college football playoff. I'll know within the next, how far are we? 42 days, I think? Yeah,
you got
42 days. So we've got a month before we really have to get it nailed down. But you know Florida State's going to be right there. You expect teams like Auburn to make a run. I think Alabama's going to be back. Do you think there's going to be a chance that an SEC team won't be in the 14 playoff?
I'm having a hard time seeing it. And, when you make a prediction for, really the BCS system or even now, you got to look at the schedule. I know when people make a prediction in college football, they look too much at the team. Like, oh, they've got these guys coming back and they had this record last year. Oh, forget about it. You got to look at these schedules because we've said it here in Arkansas. I mean, the team's going to be a lot better, but the record may not be much better. I mean, look at Auburn. Auburn's got some challenges on their schedule this year. I mean, it's a different setup for them. They have a South Carolina this year. Obviously, they have a Georgia game again this year, and we know they almost lost to them last time. You got the Iron Bowl again. So, I mean, it's going to be tough for them compared to last year. But the teams that will be in, I think, are the teams who can navigate their easy schedule. Oklahoma, that's why people like them. Ohio State will have a chance in the Big Ten. Ohio State, obviously the Big Ten just sets up really nice for them. Florida State, obviously they have a Clemson game they have to worry about. So, it's tough, but I would say this to people. You've got to look at the schedule and then look at the team before you make that prediction.
Oh, definitely. The schedule is going to be huge. And, you're in the SEC. Most of these teams have tough schedules as it is. Arkansas, murderers row. And we don't predict Arkansas to be in the college football playoff this year by any means. But you got teams like South Carolina playing Clemson and Florida playing Florida State and teams like that. I mean, you're going to have some tough schedules, and you better look at the home schedule. You better look at where they're going on the road, their non-conference. You better take all that into consideration before you pick a national champ.
I'll add this though, real quick though. The thing I like about I don't think an SEC team will get shut out. I do like this committee headed by Jeff Long, of course, Arkansas AD, is because there's going to be a more subjective view. If they were using the old BCS number system, I'd be a little bit concerned because those losses, I mean, they're going to knock you out automatically. The subjective nature of this committee is now going to allow teams with worse records to still be considered when you just look at their merit and what they've had to face. So I do like that.
Florida State, I think Alabama. It's until further notice. It's like Nick Saban. Until somebody beats him, I predict him to win. It's like the Oklahoma game. It was a shock to me that I thought, and the Auburn game, the kick 6. I was completely astounded at what happened. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Alabama to be back in the college football playoff. Florida State. Ohio State always recruits well. I think they'll be pretty good this year. I really have to look to see who else is predicted to be way up there as far as who they've got coming back and then the schedules and things. But I do think that the question about SEC teams, there's going to be an SEC team in it. I don't think Auburn is going to be as good this year. I think people will kind of, second time through the lineup, they figure out the pitcher a little bit. Second time through the schedule, they see them and they recognize it. Well, this is the second time through for Gus Malzahn and Nick Marshall, who may or may not have to deal with some issues off the field. If you believe he's going to sit for the Arkansas game, I've got some oceanfront property for you. But he was smoking the weed.
Yeah, Matty asked the appropriate question. He couldn't stay up. I will say this about Auburn, though, and I agree with you that it's going to be tough for the second time through. I made the point, you made the point. But I'll say this, though. I'm not trying to sound like your boy Brad, but the second time through is easier against most coaches. It's a little bit tougher against Gus Malzahn because Gus Malzahn, you never know what he's going to pull out. I mean, remember, when we talk about Gus Malzahn, this is a guy, we talk about their running game last year. He has coached the number 1 passing offense in the country in his career at the college level. This dude is only showing you a sample of what he has. I think in the spring they went to work on some things, so it's going to be tougher because they're not going to sneak up on anybody. But Gus Malzahn, rest assured, America, he always has some tricks up his sleeve.
So you got Auburn going.
No, I don't think. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
But I'm just saying it's going to be
tough.
It's going to be tougher for them to get through. The offensive line's coming back. Greg Robinson's the only one missing. But again, their schedule is going to be tougher. But I don't think if you just think you're just going to watch film on Auburn last year and say, "Damn, that's all we got to stop right there," then I think Gus is going to have something for you.
Oh, he definitely will. He's going to beat Arkansas. They're going to beat Arkansas. I'm sorry. If Nick Marshall doesn't play, maybe it'll be close.
That's all you can give them.
Keep it within 2 touchdowns if Nick Marshall does play, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I have it.
My initial prediction for that game is 30-20.
He's going to sit a half. That's what he's going to end up doing. He's going to sit a half in the Arkansas game after doing all this. It's going to be Johnny Manziel all over.
Ooh, and then what Johnny did when he came in from suspension. Ouch, hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I remember that very, very well. Yeah, he just was running circles around him, and that was bad. So hopefully Auburn will suck really bad because we don't like them. Steve Spurrier, real quickly before we get out of here. Steve Spurrier taking little jabs at Nick Saban. He says he should have the best team in history with all the recruiting that they've done, and these recruiting experts, they're always right. Nick Saban is the greatest coach, the greatest recruiter of all time, just absolutely jabbing at Nick Saban. You wouldn't expect anything less from Steve Spurrier.
No, I actually love it from Steve because right now Nick Saban has clearly passed him on the all-time greatness of coaches, but Steve's point is, yeah, but look, I've taken a dumpster of a program and made them a perennial 11-win team. Nick, you haven't done that. So, yeah, you may have the championships and stuff, but I still believe I'm a better coach because I've made South Carolina an 11-win team year after year. Let me see you go do that. That's essentially how he's felt the last few years.
That's a conversation that needs to happen sometime. So we've got some days. We got 42 days till college football season starts. We got no time left today, so we got to get out of here. Appreciate you joining us today. Appreciate Charlie Bowden coming in and talking a little Plummerville Super Speedway and lots of other stuff that we had going on today. We'll have more on Friday, I'm sure, winding down the days till our boy Weldon heads back to Minnesota. I'm sad, getting sad right now. But we'll be knocking things out. Oh yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of a break after Weldon goes. We're gonna mourn his loss for a couple weeks, and we're gonna redesign the studio. We're gonna set things up the way they're going to be going forward. So we'll as soon as Big Man goes back to Minnesota, you just look for a little hiatus. We'll gear up for football season, and we'll do that. That's not going to be this week though. We're going to be back on Friday. So I'll just say what you had something to say.
No, I was to say you're going to the Bahamas. You know,
I wish.
A Stephen A. and Skip just going out of town.
I wish. I got to get out of here. For Weldon and Maddie, even old Dave over there, I'm Mark saying so long. We'll be back at 11 o'clock on Friday with more Sports Blitz.